Welcome back once again to the Football Outside the Box podcast, where we discuss the past, present, and who is our American rapper again? Future of football. Yo, and kicking off the future of football, I want to lead into this future question by asking Theo. I need to ask you because he's your baller. Mohamed Salah, with his current form at the moment, do you see his future being at Liverpool?
So I'm gonna stick to your question, Noah, and I'm gonna respect only his current form, right? I'm not gonna look to the past. I'm not gonna look to the guy's history because he is a legend. But according to his current performances, no, I do not want him at Liverpool, at least not as a starting player, and that's for sure. I mean, I would say that Salah still got quality. He's still a very quick player. He can dribble, he can shoot, he can pass the ball as well as I wish him to. But he's not. He can't be a starting player for Liverpool anymore. That let's just keep it short, right? He can't be a starting player for Liverpool anymore.
Wow.
But Theo, when you look at this season, bro, like if I'm reading this right, it looks like his output is ridiculous. Like
Yeah,
he's got almost as many goal contributions as games, and I don't know, is he still not doing it for you despite that?
brother. Because if you look at his Premier League stats, he has 10 goals. Oh, sorry, he has 18 goals and 10 assists, which is very impressive. But if you see the amount of chances that he wastes, and those they prove to be crucial, like we were discussing a few weeks ago about Liverpool's, you know, our Achilles heel would be the goals that we do not score on. And Salah is definitely involved in those opportunities that we missed. And those were crucial. I sent Noah a clip from the last match against Tottenham. The goal that he missed, he was like a yard away from the goal, and he still managed to lose a goal without the keeper actually being there. The keeper was inside the goal alongside with Romero and Van der Ben. So I'm not sure how he managed to lose that goal. But I mean, I do love Salah. He's a legend for the club. He won us. He helped us win a Premier League title. He helped us win a Champions League title. He's a legend. You can't deny that. He's still very involved in chances creation, in scoring goals, getting assists. I still feel like he has declined. You can't deny that. He's not the same anymore. Feels like, for me at least, what he's lacking the most is his decision making at times. His finishing too is not the same, but he's still scoring goals, like you said, Christian. But his decision making, man, most of the times when he could have gone for a pass or tried something better, he just goes for a shot. He just rushes too much, too much. So his decision making is poor nowadays. That's why I feel like if Liverpool wants to keep fighting for a title, for a Premier League, for a Champions League, for whatever, we gotta get a guy that's younger, that's faster, that's hungrier than Salah, that plays more for the team than for the individual. Not saying that Salah is the most egotistical guy ever, but I just don't feel like he's contributing much to the team as a whole instead of contributing to himself. If you get what I'm saying.
Almost 40 goal contribution. I mean, I understand what you're saying, but I would ask, um, do you see like a situation, the first thing that came to my mind was Arsenal back in 2007 when they ended up selling Thierry Henry. Obviously, the situation is not the same. We know Arsenal's financial situation back then. We know they had the stadium debts and all of that paying for. Um, but they sold Henry at an age where it felt like he really, maybe you could argue he was declining, but he was still very much a top player, very much able to output goals and assists and contribute a lot on the pitch. Do you see like a similar situation where it's almost like, okay, he's sort of started declining, get the rebuild started from early rather than later, and start that renewal process?
Yeah, I mean, I just feel like it's not a fair comparison if you compare Salah to Henry quality wise, because if you look at the numbers, if you look at their impact on the teams, for sure you can say that that's a fair comparison, right? But I just say that Henry is it's such a good baller. You know, if you compare him to Salah, quality wise, football wise, I just feel like I don't know. I wish Salah was a quality player like Henry was. I know he's a top player. He's a top scorer. I just don't see them in the same level. You know.
No, for sure. But what I'm saying is like Henry was definitely their top man. You know what I mean? He was the man that they relied on. He's the one who is their legend, you know, and a lot of Liverpool fans would say Salah at this point is a legend, like you said. And I think it hurt some Arsenal fans. I mean, no, you can vouch for that emotionally. The idea that they had to let Henry go when he really wasn't yet so much declining. You know, I mean, yeah, you could say probably he was on the decline, but he still had it and he showed it at Barca. And I would imagine that Salah is only what, 31, 32? I would imagine if he goes somewhere else, he would be able to continue producing a lot on the pitch for whatever team he goes to, at least for another couple of years. And, you know, so I have no doubt he could do the same for Liverpool. But it just seems like a similar situation to me because, at least in the emotional sense of, well, if we got to let him go and we begin a rebuild. But do you have, are there any players, Theo, not that there have to be any, that you look at as potential, you know, Mohamed Salah replacements for Liverpool?
Good question. Maybe Bukayo Saka, maybe Phil Foden. Those would be great
All right,
replacements.
calm down. Calm down quickly. Let me tell you something about Salah first of all. Before you even come up with a replacement, like I hear both of your sides arguments essentially. Christian, you're right. He does produce a lot. And if you take that away from the team, you essentially take away those goals and those assists. But then at the same time, the fluidity of the team and the system probably weighs more than that individual output that you're talking about. We saw it even with, I remember when for Arsenal's sake, we had Alexis Sanchez at one point, and you could see that decline occurring. And we kind of got rid of him at the right time. Maybe we could have gotten rid of him a bit earlier, but overall, it was the right time. Same with Manu, with Ronaldo. He was producing a lot, but overall, that team wasn't gelling and wasn't clicking, and you could see the results of that. Theo, you made a great point about, at least this season, the amount of chances he does actually miss. And it's something that I've been talking about for a while about Salah. We've spoken about it on here, literally, that we have to praise Salah for being prolific because of that output that you're talking about. But the clinical aspect of it, you know, I love that. Clinical, right? When you have a chance, when you have a clear-cut chance, how likely is it that you're scoring? What's the rate looking like? And then one of my biggest critiques of him, which I saw a quote by Graham Souness the other day, saying that Salah is arguably probably the most selfish player he has ever seen, which I could honestly, that's not far-fetched to me because he is extremely selfish and we've seen it. You were just talking about it, Theo. It's part of the reason
I know you
why.
mean that in a good way.
Huh?
I know you don't mean that in a bad way.
I mean, I kind of do though. I kind of do to an extent. I mean, look, you can't argue with the output, like you said, in terms of being selfish, right? That's what you're talking about, being selfish.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah, I believe that obviously there's pros and cons to it. He's good, so he backs it up. He takes on the selfish shot and scores. You can't complain. But then in a moment where it's like, wow, all you have to do is just square the ball right there, and he ups the shot. You have to get mad at that. But then at the end of the game, when you look back and say, oh, Salah scored though, or he scored twice though, you can't complain. But that's a chance wasted.
But what it makes me think is that, you know, I mean, hearing it come from a Liverpool fan, it's not something that I've really been in tune with this season. I didn't realize there was this idea that Salah is sort of maybe starting to go on the decline in terms of these, you know, not his output, but the way he works for the team, how he impacts the system. But that just makes me think this is such a crucial period for Liverpool. absolutely crucial, because if that is the case with Salah, you know, they're bringing in a new manager. It is going to be Arne Slot, and I think that it's quite crucial at this moment, because if it was a situation where you have your most dangerous player for the last however many years about to, decline and perhaps leave the club, you almost want for the manager that has endeared himself to the fans so much, who everyone loves and knows, they trust in his philosophy. You'd want for him to be behind that sort of somewhat of a rebuild, right? But there's going to be a rebuild in that sense too. There's a new manager coming in, and I feel like everybody is sort of a bit afraid for their own side about what happens when a new manager comes in, because as we all know, especially in the Premier League, it's a dog eat dog world. A manager comes in and starts, doesn't have a good start. Immediately the talk is going to be, is he going to get the sack? And that's why I think this next year or two for Liverpool is going to define a lot for them.
100%, 100%. And I do feel like Arne Slot is going to be, possibly Arne Slot is going to be Mohamed Salah's grace, right? Because let's say that Mohamed Salah decides to stay, Liverpool as a whole decides that Mo Salah is going to stay. And a rebuild right now, talking about the new manager that's coming in, might prove to be crucial if Salah is actually to stay in Liverpool. Because if you see the work that Arne Slot put into Feyenoord, if you see a guy, for example, like Timber, who plays for Feyenoord, and he was doing poor a few seasons ago when the manager was in his first few seasons over there. And now he managed to make this Timber guy, a crucial part of the system, and actually awarded him a spot at the national team. So, it's not guaranteed that he's going to make every guy outperform themselves, right? So it's not guaranteed that he's going to make Salah shine again, go back to his prime. But if I see that as a grace for Salah, if he's actually to stay in Liverpool. So I'm trying to be as objective as I can with this topic. I know that there's a lot of feelings involved. I do love Salah. When I look at his career, everything that he's done for Liverpool, everything in the pitch and outside the pitch too. The guy is amazing. I love Mohamed Salah. But I'm trying to be objective. I'm trying to win titles. I'm trying to fight for the first spot in every single competition that we're in. And I don't feel like Salah, like Noah said, back to Noah's point, is that guy that plays for the team. If you see his individual output, you're going to see goals, you're going to see assists, of course, because Liverpool as a whole, we create chances. And he's going to be there to score on those chances. Sometimes, not every time. Back to the crucial point, the clinical point. He's not going to score every chance that he has. And I get it. Not every top scorer is going to score in every single opportunity. Whenever I play pro clubs, I don't score on every single shot I have, right? No.
That's because you're using a cam build.
But he's not as crucial, not as clinical. And the clear-cut chances that he misses on those big matches, like for example against Man United, like against West Ham, like when you miss those clear-cut chances, that's what keeps me thinking about it. What if it was someone else? What if it was a younger kid, someone that plays more for the team, that has a different mindset, that plays a pass instead of going for a shot, instead of going for a dribble? Because back to Noah's point, I do see that selfishness in Salah, but I don't feel like he's the most selfish player of all. But I do see that selfishness too. So that's why I feel like a change of airs, bringing in a new guy, maybe Salah going to a new club, would be a good thing. It would be a good decision. And things, they come to an end, right? Players, they come and go, they make their impact, they make their history, and then they go somewhere else. And that's a part of history. That's a natural thing. So I feel like it's time for Salah to go, even though if he stayed, I wouldn't be mad. But I just don't want him to be a starting player for Liverpool. Whenever he comes in the second half, great. He's going to be looking sharp. He's super quick. But I feel like we should be looking for somebody else. I'm not sure who, though, but we should be looking for somebody else. I'm not sure if the Liverpool fans are going to agree with me 100% on this, but that's my take.
The new era will come in with Trent as the main man for Liverpool. And whoever, the new wide forward is, whoever they bring in, still going to be Trent as the main man, future captain. You heard it here.
You play Trent as a winger now.
Yeah, you can play Trent anywhere, but he will be
Man
the main
loves
man.
Trent, bro. This one before he gets skinned down by the next winger, bro. Next match, you go into the winger, just rip him to shreds again. But
Yeah.
yeah, let us know who you think should be Salah's replacement in the comments. But yo, good Liverpool discussion, decent Liverpool season. But just as you guys slipped out
Yeah.
of the title race, you're gonna have to slip out of the title race. A discussion. So
Mm-mm.
moving on to the title race,
I
coming
mean,
down to the absolute wire.
they're not out of it yet, you know. Like,
Technically,
Yes.
technically,
Good
you
point,
see,
Christian.
a mass man, you want to talk about a mass, they're out of it, bro.
no,
I'm
they're not.
calling
Well,
they're out of it.
mathematically, they're not out of it.
Yeah,
Realistically, out of
mathematically,
it.
I know, that's what I said. But
Good
I
point,
calling
Christian.
it, they're out. They're
So,
out.
Don't count us out yet. You're right, Christian.
They're
Don't count
out.
us out yet.
so,
We're
Oh,
so
still
what,
here.
they're
what,
out.
what Liverpool has to hope happens is that Man City draw at the very most one of their remaining 3 games. They have to lose the other 2, and Arsenal have to lose both of their remaining 2 games, and Liverpool have to win both. That is the only way Liverpool can win the title, unless an insane thing with goal difference happens. But the goal difference is
Exactly. Keep the goal
unassailable at this
difference in
point.
mind as well.
It is
Anyways,
bad.
let's talk about the actual teams in the title race now, for real.
Come on, Noah. And just a quick side note.
Manchester City.
You know why I'm here, right, Noah? Because Liverpool won. You know that whenever Liverpool loses, I'm not around.
Implement the revival. Yeah.
Liverpool win. But in reality, actually, I am very unsure what's gonna happen because this is where Man City, next week, Wednesday, this is where they are gonna have to show exactly what they are made of. If they were playing away at Man United, if they were playing away at Chelsea, if they were playing away at any other team, they could be playing away at Real Madrid for all I care in the Premier League. You know, I would say it's a wrap. Man City is gonna win that game, and they're gonna come through and probably win their last 2 games. But they are playing against the mighty Tottenham Hotspur, and
All right, hold on. Before you call them mighty, call them the kryptonite to the
I
city.
don't understand how it always seems. Maybe I'm just imagining things, but over the last few years, it just feels like the undefeatable City just always seem to struggle against the Tottenham Hotspur.
Yes, sir.
Why?
Kryptonite, man. I'm telling you. It's just
And
what it is.
especially at home, bro. Especially at home. It's like,
Yeah.
for some reason, when you see Tottenham pull up to the Etihad, you just feel like it's their day.
It's that
But-
system. I mean, it's pretty like I feel like it's a known thing already. City press up, just too much into the half. They're too confident, and Spurs are arguably one of the best teams, or have been at least when Kane and Son were there at
Yeah.
breakaways, at counterattacks, too
Yeah.
fluid.
It's such
Yes,
a
sir.
shame about Son. But I still think City is going to win the game. I mean, I think at this point, it's too important. They know what is at stake, and they're going to come out all guns blazing.
Oh, it's
Haaland
just
is
that
back
part
in
of the season,
form.
right, Christian? Back to your argument about a few weeks ago. It's just that part of the season for City, where it seems like they're gonna win every single match. They just decide, okay, guys, so let's win every single match from now on, and
Oh,
they
yeah.
just go ahead and win every single match. So it seems like whenever we play FIFA, we're just playing casually, like laying down in the chair, and then we decide to take things to a new level. Like whenever you're losing or somebody or you're
You
drawing,
lean forward.
and then you
just
lean
sit
forward,
forward.
standing up. All right, let me play now. Let me be real. So
Bro.
it seems like that's what's going on with City again. A new season, same old posture, same
Doing the
old.
classic lean forward.
Yes, sir.
I think they're going to win the game. And I think that obviously Tottenham not having Harry Kane, he was able to produce a lot for Spurs in those City games. But I just do not see where they slip up. I'm telling you. They've got Tottenham, they've got Fulham, and well, they have Fulham this weekend, and then they have West Ham. All games that I think that they should be winning quite comfortably, with the exception of Tottenham.
Oh, the thing is that Tottenham, they're like in shambles right now. You know, a few months ago, they were actually fighting for fourth place, third place, maybe. Now they are coming after four straight defeats. Like, wow, that's bad.
Yeah. And it looks
That's
like
bad.
Chelsea. I think Chelsea is like catching up to Tottenham, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, they are 6 points away, so they can still make it.
Yeah, it is just insane.
It's just
But
the right
no,
time for Spuds to bite back. What do you mean?
yeah. So it is not in any way, it's in City's hands. We know this. But
Yes.
no, what do you make of like Arsenal still have to be perfect. They have to still do their part. And what do you make of their chances? They have to go to Man United, who just suffered a horrendous defeat. I mean, how are you feeling before that game?
Boy, I'm not too worried about Man U. We'll get into that in a second, but I will find it interesting that a few seasons ago, I was asked the hypothetical question several times. If Spuds would win a game and it meant Arsenal win the league, would you take it?
What? If Spurs
What,
win a game.
is that
Win
it?
the game, yeah. It was ever like, yo, the hypothetical question was, would you ever cheer for Spurs? You know? And it was like, okay, if they were in a game where if they won, it meant you won the title. It's just a hypothetical. It's just to say, like,
I,
oh, would you ever cheer for Spurs?
Yeah, it's the
And
easiest
my
question of
answer
all
is,
time.
but I guess you're asking the wrong question. You're asking the wrong question here because I feel like the question should be geared towards Spurs fans, right? Tottenham fans. Like, would you cheer for
Yeah,
Tottenham, considering that Arsenal might
yeah,
win the
bro.
title?
yeah,
You
that's
know?
a good question.
That's what
Yeah.
I'm saying. Like, of course you should cheer for Tottenham now.
Right,
You
that's
should
what
be
I'm
like,
saying.
yeah, go Tottenham. Go and win us the title. Go and give us the fucking title, man.
I mean, what would you do if you're a
Like,
Spurs fan?
like first we won it in your own backyard in 2004,
Yeah, I was
and
just
now
thinking that.
you just do it for us.
So what would you do if you were a Spurs fan?
I mean, come on. Like, I think that, well, as a fan, maybe it's different. I guess the fans would have different opinions depending on the level of hatred and stuff. But I mean, if you're a Spurs player and you're a Spurs team, obviously you're not gonna hold back against City. You're not gonna, you know, you're not gonna do that as a professional. But I mean, the fans probably have wildly differing views, you know?
Yes. Talking about my views, I would want my team to lose for sure, no doubt. Let's say if it was Man United fighting for the title and Liverpool playing City, for example, and if
Oh,
Liverpool was in the same spot as Tottenham is right now, I mean Tottenham, they're fighting for a qualifier, Champions League qualifier position, right? They're 4 points ahead of Newcastle, 6 points ahead of Chelsea with an 11 goal difference. I don't know. I feel like I would just straight up cheer for my team to lose, man. I wouldn't want. I mean, if I was a Spurs fan, I wouldn't want to give you guys Arsenal fans the title. You know,
you
I don't
know,
know, man.
Come on.
it's not far-fetched. It's not far-fetched at all. I'll tell you because obviously my team, Dortmund, played Bayer Leverkusen recently, and I didn't watch the game. And obviously Bayer equalized in the stoppage time again. I wanted us to draw the game because I wanted Leverkusen to continue being unbeaten, even though Dortmund is still fighting for fourth place, but it ended up being meaningless anyway because Germany got the fifth spot. So,
That's crazy though.
but
That's a little too much.
Yeah, that's
yeah, it
too
was crazy
mercy.
because I was like, I really want them to go unbeaten and just, destroy the league. But anyway, it's not far-fetched to maybe want your team to drop some points on a given day, depending on what it'll do for your rivals. It
But
is insane.
I do want to talk back on the Man U topic that you brought up.
Oh, they're
Bro,
horrendous
what the
loss.
hell is going on with them?
Apparently, they're the most entertaining team right now. You know, they could beat anyone, they could lose to anyone. It's insane. They're
I
putting up
find
great matches at times and then awful performances the week following. It's insane. I don't know what's going on with them.
Yeah, I mean, they just have players who, to be quite honest, are, you know, they're in some cases they're just very overrated. Like Casemiro. I mean, we have been saying it, dog. Casemiro is not that guy. I think he
As
was
in right now.
Whoa,
I hope
no
you're
man,
not
I think
talking
I,
about his
I
career.
think I think he
whoa.
benefited a lot from his partnership with Cruz and Modric. I think you could have
Whoa.
So
I
we
think you
did
could have
not
put
argue the
other DMs
reverse.
in there. What is that?
We did not argue the reverse that Cruz and Modric benefit from Casemiro.
I think there are other DMs you could have put in Casemiro's place and you would have had sort of the same outcome. I don't think you could very easily replace Luka Modric or Cruz.
So
I
tell me this: if you put Thomas Partey back on Casemiro's place when he was playing in Madrid, what do you think would have happened back then?
Well, you're talking about because Casemiro is good. I'm not gonna sit here and say Casemiro is an awful player like Thomas
The
Partey.
top
But
quality player.
And that's where you're wrong.
He's excellent. He's
And that's where
excellent,
you're
brother.
wrong.
Casemiro has a lot of good qualities, but I don't think he's one of those irreplaceables. I think he's been exposed in his time at United because as he went to United, it's not as though, well, he just all of a sudden got bad when he got to United. It's a matter of, okay, he's actually playing in a team now where he doesn't have the quality. It's a lot like N'Golo Kante. When Kante can be made to look very good depending on who he has around him. Because when Kante like paired with Jorginho, and Jorginho could do a lot of the actual DM, passing and distribution work, Kante could do what he does best and just run. Casemiro benefited hugely from Cruz and Modric. And I think that he's now being exposed in United. Same thing with Rafael Varane. I think that, there was always this meme saying how Man United got Varane and Arsenal went and got Ben White. And now look, as the tables have completely turned, Ben White is hugely valuable for Arsenal and Rafa Varane looks quite mediocre for Man United. It's not just that Man United turns players shit. It's that I think sometimes these players benefit from their environment and they get exposed when they're tasked with more.
But
I
obviously,
see
you're
what you're
wrong.
saying. I
If
see
you're
what you're saying.
wrong,
I don't think that's the case with Casemiro. Sorry, no, I just don't think that's the case with Casemiro. I think the guy has a lot of quality. He's a top quality player,
I agree.
and I feel like
You are
if you look at
Brazilian,
that,
don't you?
no, I'm not being biased here.
I agree with
For
him,
sure,
though.
I'm not being-
I know.
But if you look at the Man United squad, brother, just tell me three players that you'd say are better than Casemiro right now.
Yeah, I guess I could say as a DM, I don't really think there are. As a defensive mid, I don't think Amrabat, I don't know who else they have other than Amrabat who plays that defensive midfield role. But I wouldn't say Amrabat is better than Casemiro for sure. I wouldn't say that.
No, I mean as a whole, like who would be a more crucial piece to the squad? I mean, you know what I mean?
Oh,
I feel
more
like
like a more valuable player.
yeah, like if you
More
see,
valuable for sure. For valuable for Man United, players like Rashford, Bruno are probably more valuable than Casemiro.
I think Bruno,
Even someone like Shaw, I would say. It depends. It depends on how we look at their value to the team. But
I guess let's not look at the value. Let's look at the importance those players have for the squad, right? Let's say Bruno and Rashford, they might be good options if you say that if you compare their role to Casemiro's role in the team. But I would say that Casemiro is definitely one of the best 3 or 5 players in the squad for sure. Which means that the United squad in general is just garbage. It's just very poor, very
that's
very
what it
poor.
comes down
Because
to.
yes,
Yeah.
exactly. If you look at the Real Madrid side, when they won 5 Champions Leagues and Casemiro was there, he wasn't one of the top 5 players in the team.
No, he was touted a lot. But again, I think that's because he benefited. I do think Casemiro is a good DM. I just don't think he was best in the world quality. But exposed or not, we can debate how good he is. The performance against Crystal Palace on a whole, man, from all of them was, it was just wild. The
And
way
with
that
Arteta
Olise
as
and
well.
Eze,
What do you
Sorry,
want to say, Noah? I know you're dying to say something about Casemiro.
No, because
Tell us.
when you talk about the whole team, it emphasizes that point that I'm talking about. You said it was a poor performance from the whole team. And that's what I'm talking about. Systematically, culturally, in the core. You have to look on these things when you rating players and when you really understanding how players fit into certain sides. Even when you said that Casemiro, when he comes to Man U, it's not that he immediately just turned to shit. You could say the same thing about Hazard, right? It's just systematically, sometimes it just doesn't work out for players, managers, what they're trying to implement into the side. Casemiro is being asked to be a ball player in the Man U side, as opposed to, like you spoke about, he is like maybe not the ball player, but more of a ball player than he was at Madrid, where he's strictly playing a role of being the ball winner.
He's a destroyer.
He's a destroyer. That's his style. And it fit that Madrid system. But if you see him at Man U, he's been asked to play a lot of through passes, be on the ball more, get on the touches.
So of course he's gonna make more mistakes. He's gonna be more vulnerable, more exposed, and he's gonna fuck up from time to time, you know?
Yeah. For sure.
Right.
Theo, I don't want you to get me wrong, you know. I think Casemiro is a good DM. It's just that, you know, when he came to United, and I know we don't have one stock here to, you know, defend United and their fans, but we had a lot of United fans saying, yes, we're getting the best defensive mid in the world. We're getting 1/3 of Kroos, Casemiro, and Modric. And I think a lot of people were just like, hold your horses, you know, like Casemiro, yeah, you're getting him, but Casemiro, Mount, Bruno, I don't know about that. I mean, obviously, Manu has come up and shown himself, but you know, it's a shame when that happens to players, and especially around a club like Man United. Narrative always reigns supreme, and I think that with the players going through what they're going through right now, it must be extremely difficult for them. And I have to sympathize.
Yeah, for sure.
But that match, to go back to your point on the match against Crystal Palace, they're horrible. They're a horrible side. They have a terrible squad, terrible manager. They're terrible. They need to refresh totally. No, seriously. It's getting bad now because this has years gone on now. How you actually make Chelsea pass you? Because when you look on the real grand scheme of it,
You sound like a United
Chelsea
fan.
no, but seriously, Chelsea had a terrible season. And now, like, when I'm looking at like how bad Chelsea's season was, and then I look at the table, they did better than Man U. It makes me realize, wow, Man U had worse of a season than I actually realized. That's
It's bad.
crazy.
That's true.
It is bad, and it's so sad because I think Ten Hag is a good coach. I think that they have good players who are going under the cosh because of, you know, because of fans and social media and everything. Rashford, even Casemiro, Onana. It's a shame, you know, like these players, despite their fuck ups, they're good players, and I think they would thrive elsewhere. A lot of people have been talking about how Rashford might do at Arsenal. And I kind of think that's kind of a good point. Like,
With at your club, Jadon Sancho.
yeah, you look at what's going on with Sancho. It's insane. I mean, it's just typical, right, of the two clubs, United and Chelsea. You know, Dortmund gets Sancho, and then they get Ian Matson. I don't know if you've been keeping up with his performances, but he has been a revelation at left back. And, you know, I see a lot of Chelsea fans on Twitter. They're saying, like, wow, really? Like, we couldn't just use him, but that's just how it goes. And
Yeah.
You
To me,
know.
it's simple. I mean, I feel like it's partly Eric Ten Hag's fault and partly just the squad. You know, it's just a poor
Yeah.
squad. If you just look at their defenders, you know, the only one who I really rate is Aaron Wan-Bissaka. That's it.
Oh, you
And
don't rate
this
Shaw?
new guy, Kambwala. Now, look, Shaw, bro, ups and downs. You know, too many ups and downs.
You don't rate Lissandro?
I don't rate Lissandro. I feel like he rushes too much. He's too
I'm not a fan of
irresponsible
Lissandro
at
either.
times. He's short too. He's a short guy. I'm not the tallest guys of all, but coming from a short guy myself, he's a short guy for a defender. But the only one I truly rate is Wan-Bissaka, and this new guy Kambwala. He's really good too, but they're just poor. You know, all over. They just lack
Yeah.
quality all over the squad.
It's a shame.
And it's partly Eric Ten Hag's fault because he's the one actually making those decisions, right? He's the one building the squad. So I don't know if he's gonna stay, man. I feel like he's more actually walking closer to the door to exiting the club than making making an argument to stay and to change things around.
Yeah, so it's crazy because I've been seeing as of late, and especially since yesterday, some more heated talk about the possibility of Erik ten Hag going to another club in supposed disarray in Bayern Munich, even though there's no way you can call them in disarray. Maybe they think so. But I've seen talk about them actually switching places, having Tuchel as a manager of interest for United and having Ten Hag go the other way. I mean, I think that would be very spicy.
That's funny because I just heard talks about Tuchel going back to Chelsea. That would be interesting, this making this move, switching managers. It just seems odd, right? From both sides.
Very Jose Mourinho. You see, that's the thing, Thomas Tuchel is an excellent coach. And I think that Erik ten Hag is also a good coach. I think Tuchel is more established as a coach and is, better at what he does as of now. But it's crazy how good coaches can get bad raps, just depending on, the team and the environment that they're at and what happens. They really don't get a lot of sympathy.
It's an expectation, but as well, it's a narrative, as you always say. How do you want to look at it? He moved around to a lot of clubs. Is it, wow, Tuchel is so experienced. He's been around the block. He knows what he's doing. He's quality. Or is it, man, this guy he can't build a system. He's not somebody who you want to work on a project with, So there's two ways you can look at it.
Yeah, that's the thing. He's always just falling out with the hierarchies at the different clubs he's been
bouncing around it. Yeah.
And I think a lot of fans support him. Truthfully, I think a lot of fans end up supporting him over the higher ups at the clubs for good reason, for very good reason. So
I don't know. I just feel like fans from both sides, from both Bayern and Man United, they would be a little skeptical with this move, right? Considering recent performances. I mean, Tuchel, he took Bayern to the semifinals. They might move on to the finals. We don't know yet. But he didn't win the Bundesliga with a guy like Harry Kane as your main striker. So, I mean, yeah. I don't know. I would feel skeptical making this move if I were a fan of either side.
Maybe Harry Kane is the reason he didn't win the...
I knew you were going to say that.
You can't take spuds out the man, you know what I'm saying?
It's like, boy, Tommy, you didn't win a trophy with a guy who has never won a trophy. How could you?
How could you? How could you? But on that note of absolute failure, who's going to get relegated?
Boy, oh boy. I mean, I almost don't even care. But it is looking like Luton. I mean, they'll have to hope Nottingham lose at least one because their goal difference is awful compared to Nottingham Forest. There's no catching up. Oh my gosh. I didn't realize how absolutely horrendous Sheffield United's goal difference was until I just looked at the table.
Oh, yeah, it's awesome. We spoke about it last epi, actually, too.
Bro, oh yeah, I remember. They've conceded 100 goals. That is outstanding.
That's crazy. It's laughable. I'm sorry, though. I feel really bad for laughing.
I mean, was Derby County even that bad?
No, they weren't actually. And it was mentioned as well. They were not as bad. It's incredible.
Right.
They conceded, what, 96 goals or something?
Something like that. You looking at it now?
I know. I was about to research. I didn't.
Derby conceded 89 goals in the 07 Premier League season, and his Sheffield United team has managed to go 11 worse. I mean, luckily for them, they have, they haven't quite matched the record low points tally, but man, this Sheffield United team is crap. Anyway, so I think it's quite clear that Burnley is going to go down there 6 points away from safety. They have to hope that they win their next two games and Nottingham lose both.
And
Luton.
And Luton for them will have to lose at least one.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a long shot. I mean, again,
don't forget the Forest points deduction appeal if that goes through.
If it gets appealed, yeah, they will have an extra 4 points. So that is going to be crucial. To be honest, it's not something that I've kept up with just because the relegation fight. It's just so depressing, just so horrendous.
Well, I'd love to see Luton stay up if possible. I'd love to see the boy Lakanga get some success, on loan
Albert,
you know what I'm saying?
yeah,
So,
man.
I
um,
just feel bad for Luton because they put on great performances against the Big Six when they played at home. Against Arsenal, what a crazy match against your side, Noah. Against Liverpool, against City, against United, they played so well whenever they were facing those Big Six teams. But mid-table teams were actually their Achilles heel, right? They drop a lot of points for those kind of clubs. So that's why I see Luton being relegated. They're going to face West Ham away and Fulham at home. I see them maybe clinching those 3 points against Fulham, but I see them surely losing to West Ham. But again, West Ham is not fighting for anything right now, so they might not be concerned with the match itself. You can see the match against Chelsea; they just got trashed 5-0.
Yeah.
But Nottingham, their squad, they have more quality, right? If you see, they have quality all over the squad. So I'm not sure if they're going to be Chelsea because Chelsea is actually in a good form right now. But they're going to face Burnley in the last round.
Yeah.
Burnley should be relegated by then, so I see Nottingham clinching those 3 points easily, and they should stay. But again, back to your point, Noah, such a depressing battle for relegation, battle against relegation, actually, right? So depressing. I was hoping Everton would be relegated, a few months ago, but
It is depressing. I'll tell you what though, if by a miracle Burnley can beat Tottenham at White Hart Lane, or what used to be White Hart Lane, and Luton lose to West Ham, Nottingham Forest have Chelsea at home on that same weekend, it could actually be an insane ending to the season because correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that will make Burnley versus Nottingham a relegation decider outside of the points deductions.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be
Well, if
very
Burnley
exciting, by
manages
the
to
way.
win, yeah.
it
If
would.
Burnley actually beats the who are they
And
facing?
Luton have Fulham at home, which is a game that they'll probably feel they can step up for. So
Yeah.
again, I haven't really done sort of the math on how that will all work out, but it is kind of exciting, especially since, two other teams play each other on the final day. Hopefully it doesn't end up being meaningless, but we shall see. We shall see. It could potentially be exciting.
What do you guys make of Chelsea's recent form, though? Apparently, Pochettino is only going to stay if Chelsea manages to qualify to Europa League. I wonder
Yeah.
what you guys think about that.
I think Chelsea is just such a shambles club. I mean, it's sad because, we look at United and say that they're a shambles club, but my goodness, Chelsea and Man United, how you have two teams that have spent so much damn money, over £1 billion net each in the last however many seasons, and they're both in such disarray. I think Chelsea, as far as their recruitment goes, they look so much more haphazard than Man United. No pun intended. But they seem to just be buying players. And it's like they don't really have a plan of what they're gonna do with them. Maybe it looks more like the case now that they're gonna sort of put together a system and have these roles set out for the players, but it is such a shambles. So they go and win 5-0. They go and win good games and have good performances, but then you turn around and they have another awful performance. Pochettino out. It's just sad.
Yeah, just irresponsible spending. Back to your point, they have a lot of money. They don't know what to do with it, so let's just buy players, right? Because that's gonna solve our problems for sure.
And the director doesn't help. Apparently, if I'm not mistaken, he's also the director of football. I don't want to be completely wrong about that, but as far as I understand, I've been told that he has a lot of control as well over the transfers and exactly where they spend their money on players. It just cannot be good. It cannot be good when you have somebody like that who.
Most players are still too immature. If you see Nicholas Jackson, if you see what's his name? The winger, the new winger with
Madueke.
Madueke, yes.
No
I mean,
need.
those are great players. Mudrik, those are great players, skillful players, but they're still very immature,
Oh yeah,
very immature.
the penalty incident, bro, is sad.
Oh my God, so sad. I mean, wow.
And
And it seems like Pochettino didn't get a grasp of that team. He doesn't have too much control over them. So
yeah,
that's gonna keep on happening if things doesn't change.
the man says
Honestly,
next time they're out.
But
they're
as a
under
Liverpool fan, I,
embarrassed.
I, I guess you agree with me, Noah. I do want Pochettino to stay because he's doing, in my view, a terrible job at Chelsea. But as a football fan, I would want Pochettino to be, replaced.
No, you see, the thing is, you have to keep this motion going of the rotation. You can't let them settle with a manager that they actually can gain a system with and let him develop his style with the players. It's scary, actually. It's actually scary. So I want him to flush out, let them get a new manager in, trick themselves into thinking that they're getting a good manager, and then rinse and repeat. It's just a beautiful cycle. Because
But
right now, they're embarrassing.
they never do. Like Arsenal, what they did with Arteta. Arteta would have never survived at Chelsea if he had
Hell no.
the same players, right? Same squad, but the higher ups at Chelsea, Arteta never survives, and we
Oh,
never
hell
get to
no.
see what he can actually do.
We know
And
that.
everybody can learn from just the patience that used to be had with coaches.
Yeah, no,
Could you argue
absolutely.
that
The
you could
thing,
argue
just
that
one
Pep
point. Sorry, no, go ahead, go ahead.
would Pep not have survived either?
That's a very good question. That is actually a legitimately good question. I don't know because he didn't win the title in his first 2 seasons. In his first 3 seasons.
So
2014,
Yeah,
15 was that Pep?
was
Or
Chelsea,
from
right?
15, 16.
don't forget how long Pep has been at City.
Yeah,
It's either 14, 15 or 15, 16 that he joined. So let me just determine. He
I
joined
think it
in
was 2 seasons, Christian, without the Premier League title.
2 seasons. Yeah, he joined 2016. Yeah, so he right. No, it's 1 season because he joined 2016. So that was Chelsea's title. And
Yeah,
then, yeah, so he didn't win the title his first season. And, it sucks to say, but I'm not sure he would have survived. Maybe he would have because, Jose Mourinho survived his second spell. But again, they know him. So it's just
yeah.
a really, and the sad thing is, I feel like, I don't know if this is just sort of my tunnel vision, but I feel like it is a trend, uh, a model that started with Chelsea. I can't recall another club that so liberally sacks their manager when they're doing poorly. I remember managers being a lot more sort of mainstays before being sacked than what we have now ever since the Abramovich era.
The
So
thing is, I do believe that now Chelsea does have a reason to sack Pochettino.
yeah,
If you look at it, I mean, he has such a great squad. Yeah, immature guys, but still, they spend a lot of money. They should be doing better for sure. Like Noah was making a point before the start of the season, saying that he was seeing Chelsea finish up in the top four because of their quality, right? Because of the squad, because of everybody they're bringing in. But Pochettino, he just went against the fans at first, and then against the higher ups at Chelsea, and then he was blaming everybody else for their defeat. And it seemed like he never had exerted control over the squad. He never assumed his mistakes. He never had a clear game plan in hands. They were in shambles all over the season.
yeah,
Now it seems like they're picking up the form, but I feel like they do have a reason to sack Pochettino. I do. I mean, I'm on the same boat. I agree with you guys. I do believe that managers should be given more time to stay at the clubs. You can make a point for Pep, for Klopp, for Arteta, but those guys were humble. It seems like Pochettino, he was going against everybody. VAR, the referees, the Chelsea's fans, demanding them to be on his side, on the team side, against the higher ups now because they're talking about replacing Pochettino. Meanwhile, Pochettino still has one more year, under his contract. So he's mad against them. I don't know. I don't feel like that's the right posture for a manager. I think he should be more humble. He should be more, I don't know, more. He should be calmer under pressure, in my view.
yeah. I think he's a good manager in the same way that I think Thomas Tuchel is a good manager, and doesn't exactly necessarily have that rep anymore. I saw someone ask what has Thomas Tuchel done to be considered a good manager, and my thought on that was like, what? Like Thomas
He won a
Tuchel.
Champions League.
I mean, well, that and from he came to management, he has been praised widely for his style of football. He plays exciting, attacking football. Maybe it changed a bit when he went to Chelsea, but same thing about Pochettino. There's no doubt that he's a very competent coach, quite clearly. He took a Spurs team to the Champions League final. He made a Spurs team challenge for the title. And I think that maybe he's just not the type of manager that can survive in a place where every day is like a baptism of fire.
Yes.
You're
That's the
under
point.
constant pressure.
Yes, pressure all the time. Yeah, especially with the more money you put in, the more pressure you're gonna have in your back.
And I think
That's
maybe that's why he thrived at Spurs, because I think Spurs, you
no
would
expectations.
the
Zero
standard of
expectations.
Spurs is a bit different,
And that's all it comes down to at the end of the day. It's always going to come down to expectation, which is why you're talking about Tuchel doing a good job at Bayern. At the end of the day, his expectation is to win, no matter what the competition is. And all of this talk about, this coach is a good coach because they play a good style of football. Style of football, attractive football. Honestly, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. What matters is you win. This is a results business, and it's way too competitive nowadays for us to care about style of play and attractive football. Style of play and attractive football is a means to an end. You do that so you can try and win the game.
Very
If you don't win the game, there's no point.
Very, very true.
That's why Jose Mourinho thrived at Chelsea. It wasn't the style of play; it was the results.
Yeah. And he even had the style of play in the beginning. That team was devastating. But
just one last thing before we hop out, Christian, about because you follow the Bundesliga and you should be going crazy right now with Leverkusen. Man, they're 4 games away of finishing up the season with 0 losses. That's incredible.
I said it before. I said it already. It would be the single greatest achievement in club football history, undoubtedly.
Imagine if they end up winning, the Bundesliga they have already won, but they also win the Europa League, and on top of that, the DFB Pokal.
Yeah,
insane.
It would be the biggest achievement by any club team. I can't think of one that's better. And a lot of people have said to me, "Oh well, it would not be because it's not the Champions League." Bro, like, what do you want? You want them to play Champions League football when they're not qualified to? All they can do is play the games that are in front of them. And if they win every trophy and don't lose a single match, I don't know what club team has done anything better than that.
None.
I mean, to me.
Yeah, that's all competitions. That's crazy.
I just think it's a shame that they're not in the Champions League to be able to put themselves. Well, we'll see next season. We know Xabi is staying. We know most of their players should be staying. I would hope we'll get to see them in the Champions League next season. Let's see. We're gonna see how they do. Oh, and one more thing, actually, before we go. I saw a brilliant tweet the other day, which was saying that Cole Palmer is very lucky that his name already starts with a P, so that nobody can make fun of him for how much penalties he scores by adding a P to his name. So that's a damn good point.
That's funny. That's why, but no, you can't be laughing, because Bukayo Saka should be Bukayo Saka then, right?
Bukayo.
Hey, goal is a goal. And what position is he?
It's one.
You shouldn't be laughing about Cole Palmer then, right?
Cole Palmer.
Nah, we can't. All we do is win games. That's all we do. You know what I'm saying?
All we do.
On that note, we're going to win this game right here and call it a cut. Remember to follow on our social media, subscribe on our social media, comment, do the thing, give us the rating you don't know.
Yeah, man. Next week.
See you guys next time.
That's all we have time for today. Guys, thanks for tuning in as always. We hope you enjoyed your time with us. Remember to subscribe, to leave comments, and share with your friends. Follow us on social media at FOTBpod. Don't forget to leave a review, rating, and most importantly, Don't forget to turn on those notifications. Join us again next time as we discuss the highly anticipated upcoming Premier League action. Thanks again as always. See you then.